Kirsty, you're muted.
Thank you, Eva. Sorry, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to day 5 of our TSL Partner Power 2021 Summit on Protecting Biodiversity. I'm delighted to welcome you back to our second Compass Education Workshop of the week. If you weren't able to join us earlier, I'll tell you a little bit more about the Compass Education Group. They're a global education movement working from the US as a non-profit organization with a mission to empower educators and students who aspire to build a better world through sustainability and systems thinking. They deliver on-site and virtual professional development experiences, engaging educators, students, and school communities in teaching and learning, leading to empowered global citizens and a more sustainable world. And I'm delighted that we're able to support them at our Partner Power Summit in their aim to reach and empower 1 million educators with the tools to encourage students to think about sustainability and become systems thinkers in alignment with the 2030 United Nations SDGs. So without further ado, I'm delighted to welcome Nicole, Gitanjali, Janetta and Kate and their amazing team of youth ambassadors. Welcome, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, and welcome to our session today on driving change using the Iceberg. In the next hour, we're going to focus on how you can use a systems thinking tool called the Iceberg to help you think deeply and systematically about why things happen, such as why do whole forests get cut down, or why are ecosystems being destroyed? And the Iceberg helps you to identify leverage points or opportunities to advocate and act for changes that are going to protect and improve our world. So before we dive in, I would like to just sort of quickly introduce our team here at Compass Education and who's going to be sharing with you today. My name is Nicole Swedlow, and I am the Executive Director here at Compass Education. I'm located currently in Mexico. And I'm just so excited to be involved in the summit and to have had the experience over the past few days of watching and seeing all of these active youth and students get involved in such an important topic. And so I'm just so excited to be here with you to share today. I'd like to share my co-host for today's work, Kate Dory, and ask you, Kate, to share a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kate Dory. I'm based in Vietnam right now, and I'm really excited to do some learning about how to create change with you all. I would like to introduce you to Gitanjali.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gitanjali. I'm a high school social studies educator and instructional designer, currently working with Compass Education. I'm currently coming to you from the United States. And I'll be looking at the chat if you have any questions to help engage with you and answer them. So feel free to say hi. Also with us today is Janetta.
Hi, everyone. I'm Janetta. I am a teacher in Vietnam currently, and I'll be here to support the session.
All right, we also have an amazing team of Compass Youth Ambassadors for Sustainability on our call today who will be joining in some of our sessions to share their knowledge on the systems iceberg with you and to help guide your talks. Ambassadors, can you raise your hands on Zoom so you can pop up and wave? Excellent. Thank you. Great to see you all. Thank you for being here, Youth Ambassadors, for sure. Our goal today is to introduce you to the systems iceberg and give you some time to practice using it to identify opportunities for action to become a change maker for biodiversity. And I'm sure if you're already here, you already care about this, you've been talking about it, and now we want to give you the tools to really be able to make some change. We'll have a presentation and then some discussions in breakout rooms with our youth ambassadors. In this full group, please try to stay muted unless it's discussion time. And if you have a question, please raise your hand or write it in the chat and we'll try to answer it as soon as we can. You can also, of course, ask us on social media anytime. Okay, so now getting started, the question becomes sort of why even bother, right? Why think about this? Why do we need to think about making change? And this workshop is about helping us think deeply, but why? I'd like you to take just a second and in the chat, make a note about why you think it's important to make change. And just go ahead and add it to the chat and you can send it right away. Why do you think we need to make change? Go ahead and just add in your thoughts there. Yeah, I'm seeing somebody said, otherwise we'd be cave people. Change is essential to growth, success, and life. That was Natalie. This is interesting. As humans, we're bound to make mistakes, in which it's also our duty to create change to fix them. Protect our planet. I think these are all great. Sento, would you mind, Sento's one of our youth ambassadors here. Would you take a look at all of these and maybe share a quote or a trend that really stands out to you here?
I really like Orphelia's comment that says, because if we don't create change, we can't help our home planet Earth and we would all become extinct. And I really think that that's a really strong quote that I'd like to focus on. As well as Vina's quote that says, to protect our planet for the future. And then it relates to, most of these other comments because it talks about how change can relate to improving our future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sento. So we're gonna show you a little video and just ask you to take a minute to watch this video, and then we're gonna ask you what you think about it. And
fun fact, planet Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Mankind, about 140,000 years old. Let me put that in perspective. If you condense the Earth's lifespan into 24 hours, that's one full day, then we have been here on this planet for, drum roll please, 3 seconds. 3 seconds. And look what we've done. We have modestly named ourselves Homo sapiens, meaning wise man. But is man really so wise? Smart, yes, and it's good to be smart, but not too smart for your own good. Yes, we have split the atom. Yes, we build clever machines that navigate the universe in search of new homes, but at the same time, those atoms we split created nuclear warfare. In our quest to explore the galaxy, rejects and neglects the home that we have here now, so no, that cannot be wisdom. Wisdom is different. While intelligence speaks, wisdom listens, and we willingly covered our ears to Mother Nature's screams and closed our eyes to all of her help-wanted signs. Wisdom knows that every action has an equal and opposite reaction, so if we were wise, we would not be shocked when we see storms that are stronger than ever before, or more drought, hurricanes, and wildfire than ever before, because there's more pollution than ever before, more carbon, more trees cut down than ever before. At a record pace, we have increased the extinction of animals by 1,000 times the normal rate. What a feat. In the next 10 to 100 years, every beloved animal character in every children's book is predicted to go extinct. Lions gone, rhinos gone, tiger, gorilla, elephant, polar bear gone in 3 seconds. Species that have been here longer than us will be gone because of us in this 3 seconds. In an existence shorter than a Vine video, we turn the circle of life into our own personal conveyor belt. Somebody, anybody help. We were given so much, the only planet in this solar system with life. I mean, we are 1 in a million. No, actually, scientifically, we are 1 in a billion, trillion. That's a 1 followed by 33 zeros. And I don't want to get too spiritual, but how are we not a miracle? We are perfectly positioned to the sun so we don't burn, but not too distant so we don't turn to ice. ice. Goldilocks said it best, we are just right. This paradise where we are given medicine from trees, not coincidentally, but because like the song says, we are family. Literally, everything, every species is connected genetically, from the sunflower to the sunfish. And this is what we must recognize before it's too late, because the real crisis is not global warming, environmental destruction, or animal agriculture. It is us. These problems are symptoms of us, byproducts of us. Our inner reflection, loss of connection has created this misdirection. We have forgotten that everything contributes to the perfection of Mother Nature. Corporations keep us unaware and disconnected, but they have underestimated our strength. Contrary to popular belief, millions are waking up out of their sleep, seeing our home being taken right up under our feet. We cannot allow our history to be written by the wicked, greedy, and loony. It is our duty to protect Mother Nature from those who refuse to see her beauty. Call me crazy, but I believe we should have the right to eat food that's safe, with ingredients we can pronounce. Drink water that is clean, marvel at trees, breathe air free of toxins. These are natural rights, not things that can be bargained for in Congress. See, they want you to feel powerless, but it has been said that something as small as the flutter of a butterfly's wing can cause a typhoon halfway around the world. But when enough people come together, we too will make waves and watch the world into a new era filled with love and connection, freedom for all without oppression. But it is up to you, yes, you watching this behind this screen, to make the effort, because time is of the essence, and only together can we make it to the 4th second. Fun fact. Planet Earth is 4.5 billion years old.
All right, everyone. So take a minute and just sort of absorb that video a little bit. And I'm going to ask you, how does it make you feel? And I'm going to ask you to write your response in the chat, but this time, don't send it right away. So take a minute to write your response. Write your idea, and then I'll tell you when to press send, and we'll let all the answers pop into the chat at the same time, a bit like a waterfall or chatterfall of ideas. So how does this make you feel, this video that we just watched? All right, so write your answer into the chat, and we're just going to give everybody about 15 seconds more, and then I'm going to ask you to press send. So hold on for 15 seconds more. Now go ahead and send off your answer. And I'm looking through people's responses here and seeing some different sorts of answers, of course. And yeah, people feel sad and angry and ready. And I want to ask you, Vina, you said you feel sad and motivated to make change. Vina, would you be willing to unmute your mic and just share for a minute why you're motivated to make change?
Because in the video, the guy said if the whole lifetime of Earth was put down into a day, and we've only been here for 3 seconds, and looking at how much we've destroyed, it really motivates me to change what I'm doing right now to stuff that will help the environment and bring people with me to make that change.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Vina, for sharing. I think it's, if we've had 3 minutes to do so much destruction, what 3 seconds, right? Let's just take this 1 second that we have now and what can we do to contribute. And, you know, there's nothing in this video that's new information. If you're paying attention or if you're here at a biodiversity conference, you know, you've seen it, right? But it's just a reminder that there is power to make change for worse and for better. And really, we have a superpower to make the world a better place if we choose to use it. Yesterday, all of you learned some techniques for writing persuasive arguments on how to make change on a topic that's important to you related to biodiversity. So if you participated yesterday, that's what you were involved in. Today, we're going to hopefully help you be even more persuasive in your argument and move into action by showing you a model for thinking about change and finding some good leverage points to make change. And that tool is called the systems iceberg. And Kate here is going to sort of introduce us to the systems iceberg and get us beginning to be comfortable in using it.
Thanks, Nicole. So I saw there's a great sense of urgency felt here, especially after watching that video. And that sense of urgency is a powerful call to action that we all are feeling. And with that powerful call to action, to spread the idea and spread sorry, I have a bad connection here. To spread ideas and to create change, we need some tools that can help us along, that can help us be really strategic. So this tool is called the systems thinking iceberg, or the systems iceberg. So the first question is, what is systems thinking? Systems thinking is just the practice and the reminder that everything that we do, say, touch, or even decide in this world is connected and interconnected to everything else. If we recognize this and we include it in our decision-making, then we can take actions that support our values and avoid those unintended consequences that some of you mentioned. And we can build a more sustainable world. So today we're going to be using a systems thinking tool called the systems iceberg. And the systems iceberg can help us better understand why things happen and help us discover where we can take action to create powerful change. So looking at this iceberg, it is an image of an iceberg like we've seen in pictures, or maybe some people have seen in real life. It's a visual tool, and it can help us think about things in a broader sort of way. So as we know, an iceberg is a big piece of floating ice. And the floating part, what we can see, is just that tip of the iceberg. So if we've ever heard that statement, the tip of the iceberg, it's because we can only see a tiny fragment of the entire iceberg. Most of an iceberg is actually under the water. That's the part that we don't see. So that makes this a powerful tool for digging deeper into figuring out why things are happening and what's driving the visible, what we can actually see around us. So I'm going to ask everybody a few questions. We're going to try and unpack the iceberg using a specific example. This example is litter on the beach. So when I ask a few questions, if what I say is true to you, then just raise your hand using the function on your screen. So if we're thinking about an event or something that we see that we don't like, for example, litter on the beach, what we see is the tip of the iceberg. And when you see plastic thrown in the river or the ocean or beaches, it makes you upset. And often what we want to do is take action. We want to go out and we want to pick it up. We schedule a beach cleanup, or we maybe just take a bag and do it ourselves when we go. So here's the first question. How many of you have participated in a beach cleanup or a trash collection activity? Okay. How many of you have participated in more than one trash pickup? How many of you have participated in more than one trash pickup in the same place? Well, that brings us to the question that if we've already picked up trash in one place once, why do we have to do it again? Why does picking up trash not fix the problem? If you guys can put down your hands now, I want you to think about that. If anybody has an answer to that, you can write it in the chat. So why does picking up trash not fix the bigger problem? I'll give you a second to think about it, and you can add a response anytime something pops into your mind. I'm seeing a lot here. If you're looking at the chat, we can see people are already using this iceberg of the tool, the visible and invisible, and also thinking about cause and effect and underlying. There's some awesome insight here. A lot of this is saying that, well, it's a pattern. It keeps going again and again. We're not fixing the underlying thinking or the underlying issue. I'm still reading and giving a moment. Someone's even going really specific to say, once you've cleaned it up, then there's space to leave trash, or the trash just builds up. So that all of that is bringing us to already thinking about these unseen parts, the parts that are under the water of an iceberg. So there's much more happening than we can actually see. There's much more than the tip of the iceberg. And in order to make change, we need to recognize that, and we need to think deeply about that. If we just remember every time that we see an event happen, that event is just a small bit. It's the tip of the iceberg, as we say. And that all that's below is actually what's driving or causing these visible events. So the iceberg helps us understand the most important concept for today. In order to make lasting change, we have to look deeper. We have to look past what's first visible, and the iceberg helps us do that. It helps us ask ourselves, what else is happening? So what else is happening? Well, one way to surface the unseen is to consider it from different perspectives. With the iceberg, we use layers or levels to better understand what contributes to an event happening, like litter on the beach. The different deeper levels help us think about what we don't necessarily see and how we can create a more lasting change. So we've got some Compass Youth ambassadors that will help us outline each levels as we move down the iceberg. Maxie, do you want to start by telling us a bit about the patterns and trends level?
Sure, thank you, Ms. Story. So patterns are just things that happen again and again, and we can pretty much trust that they will keep happening. A good way of identifying patterns and trends is that they can often be visualized as graphs. For example, with plastic, a pattern might be that there is always more trash after a soccer game. Or maybe if you live near the ocean, you will see a pattern that there is always more trash on the beach after a storm. In your school, there will probably always be more trash on the school grounds after a break or lunchtime. Maybe there's especially more trash after another school comes to visit. Identifying these patterns can be important to prevent these patterns from continuing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maxie. And you can anticipate these patterns and you can respond to them. For example, by planning a beach cleanup at certain times or certain places where you know they'll be needed. But again, the larger problem will still persist, as you guys pointed out, which moves us down to the next level. Sento, can you tell us a little bit about systems and structures?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Kate. Systems and structures are the connected causes and effects that are the reasons for patterns and events that we can see or measure, often creating a cyclical pattern. For example, if there's trash on the beach, it might be because there aren't enough trash cans around the beach. Then people place trash around the cans and the wind blows it all around. And then people see the trash on the ground and assuming that's okay to do, they leave their trash on the beach too. Someone might see the trash and want to pick up trash around the area and bring it to the trash cans, and so it fills up again. So each of these are connected by cause and effect relationships, and if you follow them around, they make a looping or cyclical pattern. You can start anywhere on this chain of events and cycle back around.
Thank you so much. And as Sento said, these are all systems designed that if we can visualize them, then we can actually redesign them to help address the problem. For example, with this example, it could be putting up more bins or putting up better signage. It would help, and it would have a bigger impact than just cleaning up at certain times. It would definitely be more effective, but it probably won't have a deep, lasting impact, which is what we really want. And that brings us to the final level that Natalie's going to help explain.
Thank you, Ms. Dora. All right, so now we've reached the lowest part of the iceberg. It's the trickiest to get to, but it's the largest, as you can see, and the most impactful once reached. So mental models are the way that people think about things, what people believe, what people value. There might be garbage on the beach because people think that nature is just so big that it can just absorb it. Maybe people believe that someone else will pick it up and they don't need to be responsible for it. Or maybe there is garbage because people value convenient plastic over respecting the environment.
Yeah, and exactly like Natalie said, this level requires the most work to get to, but it's the level where we can create the most lasting change. It's the work of understanding and transforming hearts and minds, the way that people think and the way that they view the world. So with this, we're going to have a little practice, and I'm going to hand this over to Nicole so she can give us some instructions for how we're going to break into groups and practice.
Thank you, Kate, and thank you, youth ambassadors, for your descriptions there. All right, now that we're sort of done explaining the iceberg model, we're going to dive into breakout rooms to work with our youth ambassadors. So this means if you're watching the live stream, this is the end. If you want to learn more about Compass or our tools, you can sign up and join our later sessions. Live stream is ending. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to break you into groups with our youth ambassadors who are going to show you how to use the systems iceberg to identify what else is happening when you see a challenge like plastic waste, a devastated forest, or the extinction of species. Basically, everything we just talked about in that video. The goal of this activity is to help you better understand the reasons things happen and identify some action points to make change. Your youth ambassadors lead you through the activity, and when you come back here, we'll hear from your groups if we have enough time. You're going to be assigned to a breakout room with a number, and you'll be using the Jamboard to do the activity. Your breakout room number will be the same as your Jamboard. If you have any issues, just come back to the main room and we'll try to help you out. Your facilitator here will have control of the Jamboard and will share their screen. So participants, you just need to talk about where you want to move cards. You don't need to actually do that. You're going to have 20 minutes with your groups to think about trash on the beach and what you might want to do about it. Breakout room rights right now, and we'll see you back here really soon. Have fun. We're gonna ask everybody for some highlights from your conversations. If you've been selected as a spokesperson, or if you'd like to share a highlight from your group, please use the raised hand function so we can call on you. All right, I have 4 participants with a raised hand. For some reason, I'm not seeing it.
I can call on some people.
Thanks.
Noreen, do you want to share?
Hi, sure. I was selected as a spokesperson. So I think our big highlight from our group discussion was the connections that we made. In our Jamboard, we made arrows to connect different sticky notes and why they all come out to go into one root, one sticky note. And we made these discussions about other sticky notes that we made that were connected to them. And that was a big highlight because we got to discuss to each other and discover these things. Thank you.
Yeah, so you started to notice that everything is interconnected and connected, and it all sort of comes back to the same. All right. Thanks, Noreen, for sharing. Okay, now I can see people's raised hands. Lillian, do you want to share? Lillian, would you like to share with us?
Yeah, so I think an interesting point that came up is that we're connecting how someone makes money doing this isn't just related to cultural practices, but it's also related to the socio-economic statuses that are within that culture. So it's not just how that culture is trade, it's also someone's position within the culture. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you said when people make money doing this, what did you mean by that exactly?
I meant like the idea of someone makes money doing this is in that mental model that, it's someone else's job, or someone is being paid to do this.
Okay. Yeah, excellent. Excellent connection, Lillian. Let's see, Daniel, would you like to share with us?
Yeah, sorry, I'm not my team's spokesperson, but I would like to say that our group really found out doing this exercise that that the iceberg is like a domino effect. It's everything is so connected, and that the mental model really impacts the whole iceberg and everything of the event, the pattern, the structure, something. They all impact the mental models, and the mental models are really what transform the whole iceberg.
Yeah. Ultimately, end of the day, right? It all comes down to the deepest point. When we can change the way we think about things, we can change the outcomes of what happens. All right, we have time for one more person. Lynn, would you like to share with us?
Yes, thank you. And after our discussion, I found that our sticky note actually is really usable when we can find the interconnection between it, because when we go deeper into our discussion, the more we find that the sticky note actually can go more than just one places, and also like based on different contexts, we can also find the different places for those action, the behavior and perspective too.
Right, which is great, and it leads us right into what we're going to do next. There's lots of opportunities to make change. It's not just one space, so you don't always have to go to the deepest level. And so, Kate, I'm going to ask you to sort of take us through those opportunities, and how do we make change?
Yeah. So as you guys practiced, the iceberg is a great tool for helping us think really deeply about what's happening and where do we have power and influence to create lasting change. So the further down the iceberg we go, the more powerful a change we can make, like Natalie described. But it's also harder to do. So you've got to be strategic. You really need to think about the powers that you have to influence and to change the way people think about an issue. And also think about the resources that you have to create that change and to push that influence. It's okay to start somewhere in the middle of the iceberg and then work your way into deeper layers as your community becomes more ripe or more ready for a mental shift. So using the iceberg as a tool, we can be really strategic when planning action and making sure we fully understand the context, the whole context in which we'd like to create change. So I know thinking about your own issues and what you're passionate about, using this tool will be really, really powerful, but it will also require some of your own time spent on research and really thinking. But we can certainly get started together. And that's what we're going to do to close this session out. Let's start here by sharing what issue you really care deeply about. Think about an issue you'd like to address, and please share your idea by typing it in the chat. So if we'd like to shorten your response, then we can use this sentence starter of an issue I'd like to address is, and you can just simply put the issue. And after you write, have a look through the chat so we can see where all of our passions lie. And you don't need to wait. Yep, just type it right into the chat. You don't need to wait for a countdown.
This typing sound is like music to our ears, isn't it?
So we're seeing lots of passions come up here. I think all of these, again, bringing it back to that video, there's a sense of urgency. And that urgency, again, really is used as leverage for change. It's used as a call to action. So now that we've got some tools to think deeply about how we can create that action and how we can influence change, we're ready to be really strategic with our change work. It's incredibly powerful to see all of these passions collected in one place in the chat. And it makes me really, really hopeful. It also makes me really proud to be here with everybody. So I want to take this moment for you to have a second and think about what you're passionate about, think about the tools, and package that up kind of mentally so you can take it with you for when you're thinking about what you can do to create change. I want to thank everybody here for sharing your thoughts and ideas as we practiced using the iceberg and for thinking really deeply about change. We loved learning with you. We encourage all of you to think deeply about the issues you care about and your special powers as a change agent. And of course, to use systems thinking tools like the iceberg to support your work. Thank you again for joining our session today. And if you want to learn more about anything we've discussed, you can connect with us on compasseducation.org. We can end screen sharing here. And I want to send a huge thank you to all of our youth ambassadors. Can we all clap our hands, put up a function? So thank you to everyone and a massive thank you to our youth ambassadors. Thank you so much, and we hope to connect with you later.
Video on camera.
There we go. Thank you.